There, folks. Good evening. It's the Earthmaster here on the live stream on this Tuesday night, December 6th, 2022. It's about 10:17 p.m. California time here along the West Coast. And latest earthquake out there on the Earthquake 3D globe looks like a 3.1 down here along the Peru-Chile Trench there in South America. The latest earthquake popping up there on the map. Look at the USGS map here showing continual activity out here along the West Coast. We have not seen any further subsequent larger activity out here along the Western Pacific, so things are still kind of lighten up out here with that teeter-totter effect out here along the eastern portion here of the Pacific Plate. One earthquake earlier this afternoon, a 4.5 off the coast of Japan, but that's about it, really. If you look at the EMSC model here, also on the globe, looks like we really haven't seen anything major kicking up here across the Western Pacific. There was a 5.2 coming in, pretty recent earthquake there in the Philippines region, just outside of Manila. To the east a little bit, about 8.4 kilometers deep, a pretty shallow earthquake. That was the latest earthquake coming in, just over an hour or so ago in this area. But that's about it as far as westward movement goes here with the pressure gradients. In the meantime, activity continues here along the west coast with activity kind of lighting up here around the Clear Lake volcanic fields out in Nevada and also in the Ridgecrest area. Things kind of filling in that respect as well. So what do we got for earthquake activity? Anything major going on along the Cascadia? Doesn't look like it far as recent activity goes. The latest activity, of course, into the Cobb Mountain area of California. That is the Calpine hydrothermal operations once again. A real quick glance here at the satellite view. Just let me explain exactly what it is. In this area, there's a bunch of hydrothermal operation facilities, and these are them right here that inject raw sewage down into the heated surface below, into the levels. I can't remember exactly the measurement below the surface, but they inject raw sewage to create dry steam, I believe it is, to create energy. And there's been definitely a lot of earthquake activity out here in the facility of the Calpine hydrothermal operations out here. And no doubt these guys have been making earthquakes for quite a while. The largest earthquake activity out here so far, just a 2.0. Sometimes these earthquakes can get up there around the 3 to 4 range and higher. And then occasionally you get those damaging earthquakes. So for these guys right now, only some very small microquakes. But either way, 33 earthquakes over the last 24 hours. All right, further down south, a little bit of activity, as mentioned, across the Ridgecrest area. Not a whole lot going on down here in Southern California. Latest activity, it looks like a little bit of movement outside of the Salton City area, just to the west here of Highway 86. Had a couple, looks like a 1.8 and a 2.0 in that area. The southern branch of the San Andreas Fault, pretty quiet for now. But still, overall, seismic activity along the west coast, kind of ramping up there with the teeter-totter effect, tilting, obviously, towards the eastern Pacific here. No major further activity across the Oklahoma region. It looks like a couple 2s. Had a 3.5 out here outside of Pecos, Texas, out in the oil fields. And I say that, right? A lot of people don't zoom in and see what's going on. Oh, it's just kind of out there in the desert of Texas, next to the mountain ranges. Well, if you do a little research and zoom in here with the satellite view, there's nothing but oil fields and wastewater disposal wells out here all over the place. And those are not giant swimming pools, but definitely some wastewater injection disposal sites out there where all these earthquakes are occurring. All right, what do we got here? Oklahoma, about the same. Certain areas out here around Minco, seen a pretty good swarm of earthquake activity. Looks like about 10 earthquakes or so in this area. There is some oil pumping operations out here, but it's also within a zone that does see. Let me back out a little bit here. Some seismic activity. Meaning that there's some fault systems here within this yellow zone here, and I'm not 100% certain that this is fault related, and then again I'm not 100% certain that it's possibly pumping operations or oil pumping operations out here. So just kind of keep an eye on it. It has been swarming pretty good throughout the year today. Or throughout the year, I should say, in this region. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. The depth of these earthquakes here, somewhat variable, anywhere from the surface levels down to about 7 kilometers or so. But either way, a little bit of activity out there in the beautiful state of Oklahoma. Over here around Missouri, south of St. Louis, Missouri, Kimswick area, looks like a 2.5. Outside of the Mississippi area, Mississippi River, I should say, looks like 9 kilometers deep for this earthquake. Kind of definitely an odd earthquake out here. We don't really see too many earthquakes in this area. It does sit outside of the New Madrid seismic zone. So New Madrid, of course, sits down here a little bit further to the south. But either way, we've been noticing a little bit of seismic activity up here in Missouri recently. And that could definitely be a good sign here of increasing pressure along the New Madrid zone. And definitely something to watch here pretty closely. It's been, what do we got? When was the last major rupture? I think back in the early 1800s, New Madrid seismic zone. Seen a series of large earthquakes, upper 7s. And that's some big shake. Imagine 7.0 upper 7s out here today. That would be very damaging across this area. Lots changed. And I've always said this here in my previous updates, that we've been living in a time, I think since I was about a kid or so. I don't want to give out my exact age or my time frame, but over the past, I don't know, 40 years or so, it's been pretty quiet in terms of volcanic activity out here in the States, earthquake activity. Of course, we've seen movement obviously out here in California, 1989 earthquake up here. And further movement down south in the early 90s. But in terms of, these little areas that see activity on occasion, back in the 1800s, it's been relatively quiet here in our recent time. But it's, things always change. They never stay the same. There's always some area that's kind of building up out here, surprising us in geology terms of earthquake activity. All right, Caribbean area looks pretty active. The last earthquake shows some continual movement here in the Puerto Rico area. It looks like in between the Mariotas Trough and the Puerto Rico Trench. This area is kind of squeezing here. Always kind of seen a earthquake swarm around the southwestern edge of Puerto Rico. Up here around the Puerto Rico Trench, this activity kicking off earlier this morning, about 6 o'clock or so. Excuse me, got hiccups. No further activity up here around the Cascadia subduction zone for now. A real quick glance at the tremor. Let me check out the tremor map here tonight. That's a little odd. Shows no epicenters. Zip 0. Yesterday's tremor was 347, so I kind of find that it's kind of hard to believe, I would say, I'm stuttering over my words because it's going from a couple hundred earthquakes or at least tremors down to absolutely nothing today. So I'm going to watch this pretty closely because a lot of times we've seen this in error. The PNSN will black out the activity out here and claim that there's some type of network issues, or they're working on a back system that prevented the activity from being reported. So I just find that a little on the odd side to be on an uptick so large a previous day to absolutely nothing, not even one tremor. So I really wish I had access to the tremor readings, but I don't. Tremor readings are going to be on a very specific network. But then again, this is I don't know. I'm going to check into this and see if I can't figure out how to access that. Possibly, because I find that a little odd. All right, up into Alaska, things very typical up there. We're still waiting on some potential movement out here along the Western Pacific. We just haven't really seen it. Over here along the Fiji Islands area, some activity obviously throughout the afternoon period. Last one about 4 o'clock, way down there, almost 600 kilometers deep, south of Fiji, 586 kilometers for a 4.5. Deep, goodness. Deep earthquake. Down here in New Zealand, not a whole lot popping up. Let me check out the GeoNet servers here, folks. Stand by for just a second as I round up the bin here. 5 hours ago, a 3.0 into the North Island, New Zealand. 3.0 yesterday around Taupo Volcano. And that's kind of what I'm concerned about right now. Obviously, down around the Alpine Fault, we do have some activity at 2.8 from back in November. This whole area of New Zealand, obviously a very hazardous zone. Also a very interesting zone in terms of earthquake and volcanic activity. Oh, goodness. All right, so Taupo Volcano, super volcano right here. Over the last few hours, pretty calm. We're not seeing a whole lot of activity kick up here. Things may be coming to an end as far as the earthquake swarming goes that we had been monitoring here over the past week at the super volcano. But maybe I spoke too soon. We'll see. Either way, right now things are kind of quiet. Let's shoot over here to another super volcano here in the States. Yellowstone National Park, where there's like millions of visitors each year. And a lot of people think, oh, it's beautiful. It's a geyser. It's wild animals. There's beautiful scenery. It's mountainous areas and trees, and it's a beautiful area. Well, it's beautiful, but it's also a very dangerous supervolcano. There's a lot of magma below this ground, and these visitors are just kind of clueless, I think. I've been up there in the past and kind of chatted with a few folks up there, and they had no clue that Yellowstone was a supervolcano. They associate Yellowstone with Old Faithful. The Old Faithful geyser that shoots off every, I can't remember the exact time frame. I was there for it. But I was kind of sitting back in the back watching everyone observe it. And I just couldn't help but think, I wonder if these people know. So Yellowstone, definitely a supervolcano. And for now, things are kind of quiet. There's not a whole lot of activity kicking up. But one day, I would not want to be one of those tourists up there observing the beautiful Old Faithful geyser. But it's worth a trip. One time is all, because the traffic up there is a nightmare. Not even joking. You got all these city people up there taking pictures of wildlife, and they have no clue how to act. It's absolutely chaotic. I'll never go back up there. I'm not even joking. It's a nightmare. But once I visited, and I will never go back. 5.2, the latest earthquake out here, obviously in the Philippines area. Haven't really seen any major further activity across the region here. South Sandwich Islands, that one coming in. Yeah, about 8 o'clock it looks like, or so, 5.0 down there. Well south of the South Sandwich Trench into the South Sandwich Fracture Zone. So possibly things are pretty stuck down here in terms of further movement, and we're getting some back building up along that fracture area. Got to watch that pretty closely. Maybe seeing something coming up here soon for that region. Way north of Iceland, outside of the Jan Mayen area, looks like a 4.4 coming in earlier this afternoon as well. Let's see what we got. Hawaii, obviously, it's still continuing, folks. There's not a whole lot of new activity to report there across the area. The latest activity from the Mauna Loa, from the USGS volcanoes, Mauna Loa, still continues. It still continues, and we are 1.93 miles, that's 3.1 kilometers from the Daniel K Highway. That's the front flow. So things are still kind of continuing. There is the lava flow fissure lava channel. So this pretty much flows down like a river, so to speak, from this area. I was hoping to find the this is the lava flow, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, check this out, guys. You have to see this. This is so cool. Check out that lava flow. Easy on the camera. Goodness. Easy. I'm not for sure who's taking that video, but they're a little on the quick side there of the camera movement. Let's go right here. Right there. There we go. That's looking good. Looking good. All right. Maybe that one wasn't too bad. We get it. Not for sure who took that video there with the USGS volcanoes, but look at that. Absolutely beautiful. That's for sure. Massive. Not a huge one. You know, it's really not massive, but it's continuous. And it's definitely exciting for sure from Mauna Loa. Fissure number 3, channeling a bunch of lava flow down the slope there on the northeastern side there of Mauna Loa. All right, what else do we have here? Goodness, is it Monday night? Is it Friday night? Kind of feels like Friday night out here. It's Tuesday night. Okay, Tuesday night. Let's check out what else we have here, folks. Solar ham. Okay, we're getting closer. We are getting closer to the G1 class storm, potentially, on the December 8th time period. Really shouldn't say potentially, because coronal hole 53 was lined up pretty sufficiently with the Earth plane solution there, with our general direction here of Earth. So we should be seeing the high-speed solar wind stream of charged particles here reaching around the 8th time period, and potentially up to a G1 class storm. So we'll watch that pretty closely. We haven't seen it. Obviously, it's going to be here in a day or so. Right now, current conditions here show a little bit of elevated conditions with the density. But aside from that, we'll definitely wait for that incoming solar storm. What else do we have? Obviously a bunch of sunspots out there. Currently, I still think we need to watch areas down south here. And man, unfortunately, I would say this regional sunspot up here is decaying and not looking promising whatsoever. And realistically, any of these right here do not look like I'm keeping my fingers crossed here, because I want to see something pop off here with these solar flares. But really, none of these harbor any major solar flare threats, looking at the dynamics of the magnetic structure here at all. That's just a fact. But if anything at all, if there's any single hope of a solar flare, maybe down south here in this regional sunspot, which is 3153. But that's about it. I do not have my hopes up whatsoever. Right now, these guys are showing a 90% chance for a C flare, 30% chance for an M flare, 10% for an X flare. But that's being very, very generous. As you can see here, over the past couple days, things have been stable, very stable. But as we know, things can kind of change in a blink of an eye. But that's it. Those are some massive sunspots out there. And if you have a solar telescope, a solar lens telescope, you cannot just point any telescope, obviously, at the sun. It will not do good. Any cameras, anything like that. I don't even point my cell phone, my iPhone, at the sun. It's just not good for the processor there that, obviously takes pictures of the sun. It's not good. Don't do it. But if you have a solar telescope, a solar type of lens for the camera, then you can see these sunspots, and they are ginormous. They're massive. 3153 is an easy visible backyard sunspot if, pending, you have a solar telescope or solar camera. Aside from that, that's it. Don't be pointing any normal cameras at the sun. That's not good. All right, see what else we have. I think that's about it, folks. I think that's really about it. Me here along the West Coast, this is kind of what I'm waiting on. I'm going to show you guys here real quick. I'm a weather guy. I hate seeing clear skies. I don't like clear skies. I don't. Sunshine is for the spring and winter and summertime. But I'm looking forward to Thursday. This shows UTC time of 06 on Friday, but that is going to be late Thursday for my time. And that's some good rainfall and some very significant snowfall here for the West Coast. And another storm really ramping up. Look at those rainfall rates there along the West Coast. That is awesome. I wish I lived along the West Coast, but also at the same time, here in the Sacramento Valley, we're getting some of those impressive rainfall totals and rainfall rates throughout the area. Not to mention heavy snowfall up into the Sierra Nevadas, and that's awesome with that massive low pressure system coming in. After that, it looks like things maybe dry out for a couple days. I'm hoping this is wrong, because I would love to see storm system after storm system after storm system coming into the West Coast, because that's kind of what I'm all about. Fair weather, and that, yeah, don't even mention fair weather to me. I don't like it. Bring me cold temperatures, rainfall, snow. Southern California, they can keep those clear skies and sunny weather. That's not for me. No, thank you. I want to experience every single thing about climate and about these seasons. That's what life is all about. Sunny weather all the time. Who wants that, really? Who likes sunny weather all the time, folks? Probably going to lose a couple subscribers from that, but that's okay. That's my 2 cents, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bring me the storms. That's what life is all about. All right, guys. Mauna Loa obviously kicking out quite a bit of lava coming out right now. It's been super active here over the last couple hours, and this could continue for quite some time, folks. We don't know exactly how long this is going to continue with the eruption there on the Big Island of Mauna Loa. Obviously, Kilauea volcano has been continuing for over a year now, almost a year and a half of Kilauea volcano eruption, but all the lava has been confined to the lava lake area. This is a little bit different scenario, obviously, with Mauna Loa. It's been since 1984 since the last eruption here, so it's a whole new world. It's pretty exciting, but also at the same time, there's a little bit of uncertainty on how long this will continue. But either way, I think it's an awesome feature. It's well worth watching. And it is up here on the live stream, courtesy of the USGS Volcanoes. They do have that webcam set up right there at fissure number 3, which is the only active fissure right now. And it's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful, stunning image right now. And it's mesmerizing. It's absolutely mesmerizing to think what's coming up from below. So, all right, guys, enough chattering. Have a good night. We'll see you guys back out here tomorrow sometime. Peace out.